Welcome to Rob on Holiday. Today we're in the University City of Cambridge. We're going to be taking a look at some of the colleges, some of the museums, and taking a walk around the city and see what it has to offer. Cambridge is a city in southeast England. It's most famous for Cambridge University, one of the most prestigious universities in the UK and the third oldest operating university in the world. We visited Cambridge for a day in May, and we spent our time exploring the architecture of the university's colleges and some of the city's most popular museums. So, in this video, we'll be showing you what to see on a day in Cambridge. So we've started our day by driving into the city and parking at the Grand Arcade parking area, and this is going to break a record for us. It's going to be the most expensive parking day ever. I think for the 6 hours we're going to be here, it's going to cost us over £30. So if you come into Cambridge, do a bit more research than we did and look into the park and ride and the various other parking options. Anyway, we're starting our tour today outside St John's College. Looks like it's closed for people going in, but there's a lot to see outside. It's a really grand looking college. Now, you may be wondering why there are a couple of apples on the wall here. And the answer is quite simple. Most of us have heard the famous story of Sir Isaac Newton and how he discovered the laws of gravity when an apple fell from a tree and hit him on the head. Well, see this tree here? It's not the actual tree, but it was presented to the college here because it's a descendant of the tree that was involved in the Newton story. So I think it's quite nice to see it here outside the grand buildings of the college. And I assume that the college have put these apples on the wall just to remind people of the famous history of this tree. We're visiting Cambridge in May, so it's worth pointing out that if you wanted to look around all the colleges here, it's probably not the best time of year to come because obviously a lot of the students are still active attending the colleges and some of them are closed. However, we have managed to get tickets for King's College, which we'll show later. We're really looking forward to that. After admiring St John's College, we carried on walking down Trinity Street towards Trinity College and King's College. If you're visiting Cambridge for the architecture, this is probably the best street to walk down as you get to see three of the most beautiful college facades in the city. One thing I've noticed in our short time walking around Cambridge so far is the amazing amount of gargoyles and stone heads carved into buildings. Look at all these gargoyles here, really impressive. It wouldn't be a Rob on holiday trip to a famous city without a bit of scaffolding, would it? I mean, this would look spectacular without the scaffolding. It looks great as it is, but if we just somehow get rid of that scaffolding, it'd be the money shot. This is the famous Corpus clock in the centre of Cambridge, and a passerby has just helpfully told us we can look on our phone for the time, but I think you'll agree that watching this is a bit more fascinating. I don't know what the creature's supposed to be, whether it's a combination of a wasp and a dragon, but it's definitely fascinating. After arriving early in Cambridge to take pictures of the colleges, our next stop was the Fitzwilliam Museum, which opened at 10 AM. The Fitzwilliam is home to a number of interesting galleries, including ancient Egyptian, Roman and Greek exhibitions. We're not usually fans of museums, but we wanted to visit the Fitzwilliam for the stunning architecture in the main hallway. As we were only visiting Cambridge for the day, we only spent an hour in the museum, but you could definitely spend a couple of hours here on a longer trip. The Fitzwilliam Museum in Cambridge is really worth visiting. The main thing is it's free to enter, so that's really great. As you enter the museum, there's an absolutely fabulous hallway with columns and a big ornate dome. That is worth coming to see that alone. But inside the museum, the two areas I particularly enjoyed, there's a really good Egypt section which has got lots of stone artifacts, some of them going back more than 1,000 years BC. There's also a lot of art in there. The section I liked was a small section that featured paintings of Venice and Florence, and they were really good. But there's lots to see, as I say, it's free to enter, so give it a go if you're here in Cambridge. After the Fitzwilliam Museum, we walked a further 10 minutes out of the city centre to the Scott Polar Research Institute, a small museum about the UK's various expeditions to the Arctic and Antarctic. This is the Scott Polar Research Institute in Cambridge, and again it's a museum that's well worth a visit. Free to enter, it's only a very small place, there are not a massive amount of exhibits, so it'll only take you 15-20 minutes, half an hour to go around. But what's really good about this place is it has lots of artifacts from the famous expeditions to the Arctic and Antarctic. For example, the Franklin expedition, Shackleton's expeditions, and of course Robert Falcon Scott expedition to the South Pole on which he died. And in the glass cases there are little fragments. For example, it's quite moving to see a little fragment of the Union Jack that Scott hoisted at the Antarctic, but of course he never returned alive. He knew that him and his party were going to die, so he left notes and bits of fragments that could be brought home. Quite a moving experience, definitely worth checking out if you're into polar expeditions.
After a busy morning of exploring, we were getting hungry, so we dropped in at Brown's Brasserie for a delicious brunch. To be honest, the place is very expensive for what you get, but it has a lovely ambience and the food was great.
Well, fruity, which you would expect with strawberry, blackberry and raspberry.
On our way back to the centre, we visited the Silver Street Bridge, which provides views of the River Cam and the Mathematical Bridge. There were lots of students selling punting tours on the bridge, which might be a nice idea, but they were too expensive for my liking. Before our visit, we had booked tickets to visit King's College in the afternoon. One of the main reasons to visit Cambridge is to visit the colleges, but you probably don't want to spend money visiting them all, so it's important to do some research before your trip. We picked King's because it was the only one open on the day of our visit, but to be honest, we probably would have picked King's College regardless because the entry tickets also allows you to visit the King's College Chapel. Tickets cost £15 and can be booked online ahead of your visit.
This is King's College, and it's the one college that we've been able to get tickets for to look around today. This includes, of course, the world famous chapel, which is behind me here, and also we'll be able to get down to the River Cam and see the backs of the college here, so let's check it out.
A visit to King's College will only take you around an hour, 30 minutes for visiting the chapel and 30 minutes for exploring the backs, the grassy areas that run along the banks of the River Cam, providing beautiful views over the university buildings. You can only get to the backs if you buy a ticket to one of the colleges, so this combined with the entry to the chapel makes the ticket price worth it in my opinion.
King's College, Cambridge, a really impressive chapel. The stained glass windows in that chapel are absolutely fabulous. And of course your entrance fee allows you to walk around here, the backs. It's not easy to get on the backs at Cambridge. There's a park a bit further down there I think you can get into, but to get to the river and see a lot of the famous bridges, like the Bridge of Sighs for example, in one of the colleges further upriver, you have to pay to that college to get in. So it would be a very expensive day out in Cambridge if you had to pay to get in all of the colleges. So like I said, this is the best one we found, £15 to come to King's College, and I say the fantastic chapel is included in that price. So that was our day in Cambridge, a really good day out. What I really like about Cambridge is obviously seeing all the famous university buildings of all the various colleges in the city centre. Also a couple of great museums. It's really good that the Polar Research Museum and also the Fitzwilliam Museum, both of those museums are free. You can spend a bit of time walking around there. The architecture of the Fitzwilliam Museum in itself is worth seeing. So those are the main things that I do in Cambridge. Thanks for watching Rob on Holiday. We hope you enjoyed our review of Cambridge. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments box below and we'll be happy to answer them. Until then, thanks for watching again and we'll see you next time.